If you're just joining us, we're following the breaking news out of Haiti. The largest, most powerful earthquake in the region's history has crippled the country, measuring 7.0. Its epicenter was just a few miles outside the capital.
January 12, 2010, 4:53 p.m. local time. 16 miles north of Port-au-Prince, Haiti's capital, in Langon, an earthquake measuring 7.0 on the Richter scale occurred. This was one of the strongest earthquakes in the region in the past 200 years. An estimated 230,000 dead, 300,000 injured, and over 1 million left homeless. Buildings crumbled, roadways impassable, medical facilities destroyed. No food, no water, no security. Where were you? January 13, 2010, Virginia Task Force 2 receives orders to mobilize. They've been activated to respond to the emergency in Haiti. Division Chief Mark Polland will be the task force leader.
It's always an enormous responsibility on any deployment, domestically or internationally, and you do have the responsibility for them. But I'm fortunate that we have a lot of good managers on the team in different components, so I rely heavily on their leadership too. So although ultimately I am responsible, it is good to know that I've got their help.
To carry 81 team members to a foreign country and be self-sufficient for a minimum of 5 days is no easy task. Basics like food and water, shelter, working supplies, heavy equipment, fuel, and every detail must be carefully prepared. Captain Tracy Freeman is the logistics team manager.
Some of the concerns that we had with that was we obviously started, the docs had concerns. They started putting everybody on antibiotics before we ever left. And we continued on that for 30 days after we came home. Being our first international deployment, we were all a little bit we're not sure exactly what to expect and what to do down there. Another concern was the climate. We left Virginia Beach, it was 20-some degrees, 30 degrees here. We got in Haiti, we were all working in 100, 105 degree temperatures.
We land at Toussaint Louverture International Airport. The island is dark and without power. There's no jet fuel for refueling of aircraft, and it is 100 degrees. With no orders and no place to report, our first night is spent on the strip of grass between the tarmac and the runway, just a few hundred feet from the flight line. Communications are difficult. The majority of personnel we encounter speak French. Master Firefighter Mark Hildebrand shares his experience.
The day that I went out in the field as a kind of an observer, I would say, I was driving a pickup truck with the Jamaican crew. I had a crew of Jamaicans with me and a couple of our members in the back of the pickup truck as well. And it was almost nightfall, and a truck full of police officers came to our caravan and wanted to know who was in charge. Of course, everyone pointed their finger at Chief Keene. He was speaking to him in French. Of course, Chief Keene really didn't understand what he said and took him back to my truck and asked if I knew what he was saying. And I understood him to say that he knew where there were a couple of kids trapped. And I emphasized to him, I said, we need to know if they're alive. And he said yes, that they were alive and they were trapped right now. It was scary. It was gut-wrenching, actually. Initially, I believe they did some tapping. They threw a dog in, and they got a response. And then they put some thermal cameras and got a visual on some sort of a heat signature, but they couldn't tell what it was. And I stuck my head in the hole and I spoke to the little kids in French. I think I said something like, "Les enfants, tu parles avec moi," which is like, little kids speak to me. And in the deep dark hole, I heard a couple little voices. And from that point on, it was just a melee of digging, cutting. And I believe New York's task force was probably listening in on the radio, and they were there really quick too. And it was a two-team effort to get them out. I guess about 4 hours later, we pulled the kids out.
Is, though, some good news to report. The latest miracle coming last night when 2 young children, an 8-year-old boy and his 10-year-old sister, were pulled alive from a collapsed 2-story building. They'd been buried for 7 days. They were rushed to an Israeli tent hospital for treatment and then reunited with their parents.
Reports come in from a confirmed trapped person at Hotel Christopher. Once a 6-story building, the collapsed hotel is now a 30-foot pile of rubble. Verbal communications identified the location as room 309. Battalion Chief Dennis Keene, the operations team manager, tells of the rescues.
We had been set up for the day to go out and search a grid. Every day the team was given grids throughout the city to search. We were heading out that morning when somebody, a young man from New Jersey, believe it or not, came in and said he thought he knew where there was somebody alive. And as we got out of the rigs and we started to do our searches, certainly the dogs, our canines hit on the location. We were able to start to remove some of the debris. We were able to start to communicate with Jans. After again about a 6-hour operation, we were able to have him. He almost self-extricated himself once we created openings large enough when our rescuers down in the hole. We were able to get him, and he helped assist himself out of the hole.
Alive? Do you know? Did you speak to them? No, but I heard the bombing.
A hero is someone who is endowed with great courage or strength, or one who is noted for feats considered noble of purpose. Sacrifice to forfeit or relinquish something of value. Firefighters do not often call themselves heroes and routinely state, "I was just doing my job." These men, women, and animals sacrifice time with their families, the safety of their homes. They demonstrated the courage and the strength to reach beyond the boundaries of their country, all to help their fellow man. And tonight, there are at least 3 living and breathing people who are grateful for their service.
Again, thank you very much. And go out there next time. Just continue what you do. People love you for it.
Thank you.